Hello, welcome to High Vibe Astrology. This is Jennifer. Thank you for joining me as we take a look at the Aries full moon drawn up for October 17, 2024 at 7:27 a.m. Eastern Time. If you're new, thank you for finding this channel. Thank you for being here and for supporting this community with your positive energy. If you are listening for the first time and haven't subscribed yet, I invite you to do so, hit the like button, and share these messages as you feel guided, all of which are free and easy ways to support this channel. Astrology always tells a story. It's a snapshot of the universal energies and promise that are built into that chart and embodied by the person, place, or event. And this Aries full moon is telling the story of humanity as we are learning to assert ourselves as independent individuals who are still part of the collective community, with the understanding that we are only as strong as the weakest link. And that means that at the microcosmic level, at the individual level, we must assert our own individual power. And for those who understand that there is a higher power, a higher force that we call God or the divine creator, source of all life, of all that is good, righteous, and pure. That is where we derive our power. It's not about having power over other people. That is what we've been experiencing, and that is also what we are releasing as the age of Pisces comes to a dramatic conclusion, and we move more and more visibly into the age of Aquarius and into the golden age. But this Aries full moon connects powerfully with Chiron, where we must learn to heal these old ancient wounds within our own soul journey and turn it into wisdom that helps others along their journey as well. Chiron is the bridge between our mortal and immortal essence, embracing fully our humanhood while always reaching for the highest outcome for all. As we tune into the collective and how that translates, we are being confronted with our own mortality through the recent storms, man-made and natural. Chiron in the 6th house relates to our health and well-being, daily routine, and spiritual devotion, but it also governs the area of master-slave mentality. And I really feel this is what's being healed, this is what's being exposed, and brought back into balance and equality. We've got the full moon in the 7th house of equality between self and others, and Chiron is conjunct this moon as well as the 7th house cusp. We're finally seeing and feeling how we are worthy of being treated fairly and are standing up for this equality in the collective in those unfolding events so that we can really see it and deal with it. Aries North Node in the 6th house is about overcoming any codependent tendencies, and it's about developing our own sense of identity and initiation where our life path and service is concerned. In the 6th house, this has to do with practicality on a daily basis and also letting go of any addictions regarding escapism, the opposite house, not seeing reality that is right in front of our eyes, or escaping in the form of substance abuse. In the collective, I feel this is describing the ways in which we, as humanity, have unwittingly or consciously handed over our spiritual power and well-being to entities and institutions that have misused and abused the resources we have provided to them. Resources either physical, material, or spiritual and energetic. This is where Chiron conjunct the Aries full moon and this North Node in the 6th house is the gravitational force, calling us to awaken to these subconscious addictions and release them once and for all. At the same time, we've got to carve a new pathway forward for ourselves as individuals and collectively for humanity. Aries is ruled by Mars, and we find Mars on the midheaven in the sign of Cancer. So there is mutual receptivity between this Aries full moon and Mars in Cancer. Moon in the sign ruled by Mars, and Mars in the sign ruled by the moon. Mars is driven to protect the innocent and vulnerable because it's in the sign of Cancer. So it's fighting for the underdog, but it's also about protecting the family. That's what Cancer stands for. And as we apply the family to the collective, this is the signature for protecting our homeland and those naturally born or legally brought into this country. It applies to all countries, though, because we're talking about the Earth as our home as well. Mars is going to come into an exact opposition to Pluto on November 3rd. And I'm going to do a separate video for that, because by then the Sun will have moved into Scorpio. There will be some sort of showdown between these two co-rulers of Scorpio. It goes without saying that we can expect some intensely powerful events to unfold, especially since in the USA's solar return chart, which I already did a video for, we have Scorpio rising. But getting back to this chart, we do have a grand cardinal cross impacting the angles, and this creates even more momentum for these energies to be felt and seen. With the Sun conjunct the ascendant, it is analogous to Leo rising, so having optimism and a sunny disposition despite all that is unfolding. The Libra Sun is ruled by Venus at 29 degrees of Scorpio in the second house, and I'll come back to that in a second. I want to talk a little bit more about the cardinal cross. Cardinal signs are about initiating, catalyzing, seeding something new. So they do have a lot of drive. And in this case, with Libra Sun and Aries Moon, in other words, Libra is the natural ruler of the 7th house, and Aries is the natural ruler of the 1st house. With this flip-flop, we have our conscious energy, the Sun, expressing a concern for cooperation between self and others. And on the other side, we have an emotional need, the Moon, for greater independence in the sign of Aries. Pluto in Capricorn, on the other spoke of this cardinal cross wheel, is now direct and finally finishing its long sojourn in Capricorn. Capricorn represents those structures in society. So it's finishing up its demolition. We are definitely witnessing the dismantling of the old guard that has abused, deceived, and manipulated the masses while forcing their way into positions of power. And although Mars is normally the underdog because Pluto is the heavyweight in this connection, the good news is that Mars rules this full moon as well as the Aries North Node. And the Aries North Node is holding positive energy. The North Node is always positive. So Pluto annihilates the ego's attachments for the sake of purification. And that's what's happening to this ancient criminal system of world powers. They're done, they just don't know it yet, or refuse to surrender. They don't care how many innocent people they take down with them. This opposition between Mars and Pluto is a final showdown. It is literally a fight to the death. But I read Mars in this chart as the champion, because as I said, it does rule that North Node in Aries, a positive energy and gravitational force pulling humanity into greater healthy assertion, independence, and freedom. Mars in Cancer is fighting for the underdog as the underdog, just like David and Goliath. But guess who won that battle? So the good will triumph, and by that I mean those who do not have innocent blood on their hands will absolutely prevail and inherit this earth. I also like the fact that Venus and Mars are in harmony with each other. And as I said, Venus is at 29 degrees of Scorpio in the second house. Now, Mars is at 22 degrees 55 minutes, so I round that up to 23 degrees, and that puts it within range of a trine to Venus. Mars is also forming a trine to Neptune. But Mars and Venus are the rulers of the lunar nodes, Libra and Aries, as well as this Libra sun and Aries full moon. That tells me that behind the scenes, these rulers are supporting our triumph over this ancient monstrosity of collective human shadow. And Neptune's energy is flushing it out, cleansing, clearing, and dissolving it. Mars is helping us take responsibility for our own role in this unfolding story. And through its opposition to Pluto, it's energizing us to stop projecting a Pluto theme, the individual work we need to do onto any government power or institution who doesn't give a flying you-know-what about humanity. Venus in Scorpio is ruled by Mars, Pluto, and Sedna, so this opposition between Mars and Pluto directly impacts our values and self-esteem, a second house theme. Venus itself is opposing Sedna and Uranus. This is a major indicator for valuing freedom, represented by Uranus, the liberator, particularly where hidden spiritual matters are concerned, the 8th house themes. Sedna in the 8th is exposing any cruelty, atrocities, and depravity perpetrated on human beings, and is dedicated to bringing divine justice for those crimes, while restoring sacred law and humanity's divine inheritance and abundance around the world, not just in the United States. Jupiter in the 8th makes an exact sextile to Chiron, offering greater opportunities to heal. In Gemini, it expands our curiosity where these 8th house subjects that have been labeled as taboo or conspiracy theories are concerned. There's also a mutual resonance here between Mercury in Scorpio and Jupiter, because Jupiter is in Mercury's sign, and Mercury is in the sign that rules 8th house matters. So all in all, this is a powerful signature for being able to see in the dark, or rather to see through the phoniness and deceit so that we can arrive at the truth. Finally, we have Saturn in Pisces in the 5th house, making no major aspects to other planets, so it stands alone. In the 5th house, this is about creative will, life force energy, innocence, play, pleasure, and fun. Saturn's low vibe will restrict these energies and seek answers from external forms of authority. But Saturn's highest vibration and ultimate lesson teaches us to rely upon our own inner authority to achieve these 5th house results. We haven't had a true democracy for a very long time, and governments around the world are exposing themselves as the proverbial elephant in the room that only gets bigger and looms larger the more we, the people, choose to ignore it. It's time for us to remind the government that it was established for the purpose of serving the people, not the other way around. And by the time this opposition between Mars and Pluto becomes exact, I believe people all over the world will become much more emboldened, encouraged, and activated to rise up as spiritual warriors this earth needs right now. We can't do it alone, but we are not alone. We as individuals have our own spiritual team, guardians of the earth, and all heavenly beings who are cheering us on as we bring this earth into a new golden age that allows all life to truly thrive. So that is what I have for you. I hope you'll stay tuned for the planetary frequencies, and I look forward to being with you next time. Bye for now.